Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and today we're talking about Virgin Galactic stock and is Virgin Galactic stock a buy right now. And I'm talking about a 2 to 5 year hold on this one, and this stock actually came from you guys. Every so often I let you guys choose what stock you want me to look into, and you guys went with Virgin Galactic. That was the most liked comment in the last video that I did of like a request to stock. So same again on this one, guys. Comment down below in the comment section. Let me know which stock you want me to do next. The one that gets the most thumbs up is the one that I'll do. So make sure you're not, there's not a million stocks of the same one. If the stock you want me to do is already posted, just check and like that one instead, so we don't have multiple of the same stocks. It's a nightmare for me to go through all the comments as well. So yeah, Virgin Galactic was the winner by a fair bit as well. So we'll be doing this one today, guys. And yeah, let me know which one you want me to do next. I thought Lemonade would actually be one that was up there, but it did okay. There was a few people liking it, but I thought that would be one that would be the one that would be wanting me to do at the moment. One of the hot stocks, really, isn't it? So or Helion as well. I know that one's quite popular. So anyway, whatever you want me to do, comment down below. I'm not feeding you ideas. You guys comment down below. Let me know what you want me to do. US, UK stock, absolutely fine. But we'll get on to Virgin Galactic stock, guys. So if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe. And also, if you've been here a long time, you guys make sure you smash that like button, guys, and we'll get stuck into it. So Virgin Galactic is a company looking to get into the space industry, which is, I think, potentially, when we talk 5 to 10 years, will be a massive space. Just like how the EV is probably going to be one of the biggest spaces over like the next 2 to 5 years. After the EV explosion, I think the space explosion, not an actual explosion in space, but the space industry will be one of the big sectors that grows in the next 5 to 10 years. Just not right now, but in the long term, 5 to 10 years down the line, it could be a massive area. So it's not a bad thing to start looking at companies in this kind of industry right now. Now, Virgin Galactic's aim is to send normal people, citizens that pay for a ticket to go on a spacecraft, basically launch them into space, and basically they get like the feeling of weightlessness and the views over Earth, and that lasts for about 6 minutes, and then eventually they come back down to Earth. And yeah, it's just basically letting normal people, passengers, get up there. Obviously, when we talk about that, it's not your normal Jet 2 flight to Spain on them sort of prices. The actual ticket prices are somewhere around 200,000 to about 250,000, which is quite expensive. And obviously you got your higher end celebrities that are queuing up for these sort of tickets. It's not going to be something that's going to be for the the average Joe, but if you've got the money to do it, I can see it being a cool thing. And at the moment, it looks like there's a bit of a demand. Virgin Galactic have about 700 pre-tickets already booked for this. So sales are looking okay from that kind of view. So it's it's not looking too bad. So sometimes when I'm actually looking to buy a company, before I even actually look into the financials, sometimes before even reading the actual earnings report, or listening to the conference call, which I normally do when I'm looking at a company and I'm really liking it, is sometimes I just like to flick through some news stories about the company. And it looks like at the moment there's a lot of hype about there being like a supersonic commercial jet, which is basically like the Concorde 2.0. And I have to say, I'm surprised no one has thought about doing a Concorde 2.0 yet. You look at when the Concorde stopped, we're nearly 20, 30 years developed in technology now. And most of the problems that the Concorde had, I'm sure a lot of the technology will be being able to stop them. And I'm sure there would be a demand for a supersonic commercial jet that flew from London to New York in 3 hours. I'm sure you'd be able to successfully do it. So I'm surprised no one has done it. And it looks like Virgin Galactic are looking into this sort of thing. But the problem is that it's obviously a concept, and by the time you've done testing and everything, it probably take a good 5-10 years to even get close to being in production and flying. So I can't really take that into consideration right now, because I'm looking at this company from a 2 to 5 year point of view, and this won't be in that 2 to 5 year point of view. So I've got to knock that one on the head, but it's a cool idea. I also saw that it was raising money, which probably leads, I already know this company isn't profitable, but obviously raising money isn't great. Kind of says that your company's not got enough cash. Also, shareholders are getting diluted. You know, you're investing into a company where you're losing value being in it, which is probably negative. But at least they got a bit more cash, but it's just a bit of a red flag. And then I actually had a look into Virgin Galactic's earnings report, and I was trying to look for the revenue in it. And it actually turned out Virgin Galactic made no revenue in their earnings report. And I was like, what? You know, buying into a company that makes no money? Like, that's absolutely insane. Like, I don't think I've ever invested into a company that has never made any money in a quarter. That's absolutely insane. Like, imagine, I just trying to justify it, like buying a company that made no money. It is crazy. It's crazy. You're actually, I sometimes say, like, you're buying the story, like, how the company's going to do in a few years' time, but it's got to be a good story on this one to be invested into a company that has no revenue at all. And then I also looked how much the company is losing, and it looks like on average they're losing something probably around about 60 million a quarter. So it is burning through the cash pile. That's probably why they've had to go and raise more money. So I went on to look at the stock price, and I had a few people when it actually IPO'd asking me about this company, and I was like, especially when it started climbing quite a bit, it had a big massive spike in like February time, and I was like, I don't know, like, you're just buying a story. Like, it's really hard to value a company like this because you basically invested into something that could potentially happen. You know, when I say, like, when I invest into companies, I always say, the main thing in stock investing is to realize, why is that share price going to go up? And most of the time the share price goes up because you increase the revenue and you also increase the amount of money that the company makes. And I look at Virgin Galactic and I'm like, at the moment, revenue, there's nothing coming in this quarter, and going forward, eventually it might get around to getting to revenue point of view. But the earnings, you talk about a company that looks like it probably won't be profitable for a while, which is always worrying. So that jump in share price made me a little bit nervous, but it's come back a little bit since. And to be honest with you, it's been pretty flatline. At the moment of recording this video, it is around about $17. So I went and had a look at what the company was doing, earnings, revenue-wise, and yeah, basically, earnings-wise, revenue-wise, it kind of brings in like a couple of million every kind of quarter, which obviously is not a lot when you compare a company. The company is a 5 billion market cap company, and you're bringing in 1 million. It's a very big valuation, is that. But then we do see in the forecast side of it that revenue does start to come up, and this is probably because they're getting towards the end of the testing for the shuttle that will take people to space, and it looks like Richard Branson wants to be the first one to travel on this, and that will be early 2021. So it looks like they're still going to have probably 3 quarters of losing money, probably around about the 60 million rate. But then obviously you're probably looking 21 Q2 is when you probably actually see some revenue starting to come in. That's if everything goes well and all the tests are passed. Richard Branson goes up and comes down, and then he allows passengers to go on it. I would say the thing that makes me a little bit nervous is that's in that time you could potentially have some problems found. Maybe the test flight goes wrong. I mean, you talk about a company, if this thing was to crash, imagine what that would do to the company. I mean, it has crashed before as well. If this, I hope it doesn't, crash or a problem happens. But you got to, you got to look at it and you think it's got one income stream here. If something was to go wrong with that, and the worst was to happen, this company is dead in the water, isn't it? By the time they would have to fix it, rebuild it, it would be nasty for the company. But let's just say, best case scenario that everything goes right, test flight goes right, and passengers actually still come onto this, onto the spaceship, in Q2 2021. Then revenue does start to increase, and it will start ramping up. And when you think about, tickets are, you've got 700 bookings, you've got everyone paying, something around 250k to get onto this. The revenue should start ramping up. So it does look like that. It is forecast to still lose a lot of money, but not as much as what it was doing. And then I take a look into the balance sheet. No debt on the balance sheet, which is good. Cash isn't too bad. They've got 350 million. Now, I'm not sure if this actually includes the cash raise that they actually did the other day. So if it did include that, obviously it would be probably a little bit more than this. but it probably will need a little bit of cash. You know, if we think about it's probably going to still burn through 180 million to the test flight which Richard Branson goes on. Then we're talking that they're going to be down into like the 100 million range, maybe more if the cash isn't shown that's been raised. And then obviously after that, it's still looking like it's probably going to lose money every year. So yeah, I mean they are going to burn through a lot of cash, which is kind of worrying. And obviously profitability isn't in sight right now. So more than likely, and if they want to develop things, like if they want to do this, Concorde 2.0, then obviously it's going to have to go raise more cash to kind of, get the concept, to start building the concept. So I look at the balance sheet and it's not terrible because there's no debt and it has a lot of cash. But I just think where this company will need to go and how far it probably will be off profitability is probably going to have to raise more cash. And obviously, you invested into a company which is probably going to end up diluting shareholders. So yeah, I mean, it's not the worst balance sheet. It's just kind of worrying that, if this company had like 1 billion in cash, I'd be a lot more comfortable with that. But it's looking like it probably will need to raise a bit more cash from this point of view. So what's my overall opinion with Virgin Galactic? I look at the company and the industry and I think this could be a massive industry in the next 5 to 10 years. I think there'll be a lot of growth here. It could be the next, boom sector in the next coming few years, 5 to 10 years down the line. I look at Virgin Galactic and I get a little bit worried. Like I look at what's going on and basically, you're investing into the story. There's not a concrete business just yet, which makes me a little bit nervous. You're buying a company which this quarter had no revenue, a company that's burning through the cash and probably will carry on burning through the cash for a while. And I don't want to be in a company where they're going to have to, carry on diluting shareholders, raise a lot more cash. Obviously it's, not a pretty thing, but it's definitely one for the watch list. And if everything goes to plan, and if in the the Q1 they're able to get the the ship up, Richard Branson does it, then they get people coming in, we'll have a lot more idea on how much cash they're burning through then towards like 2021 Q3 Q4, and that might make it a little bit comfortable to be invested in. Obviously, then we'll have an idea roughly what the company can do earnings wise. How many flights they can do to get people up and down, the demand. It's just there's a lot of risk with this one, and you look at the ship that they currently have, and like I say, what happens if they have a couple of problems in testing? What happens if there's an accident? The company's pretty much dead if that happens, because by the time they have to raise the money to fix what's gone on and do all the testing again, massive problems for the company. So it's one of those that your investment out of nowhere could struggle overnight. And like I say, you definitely buy into the story in this one. And for me, I look at it and it's a cool story. The problem is that you look at what risk there is there. There's a lot of risk at the moment. I think it's one of those just to stick on the watch list to keep watching at the moment. Like I can't say is the revenue going to increase? More than likely, if everything goes well, earnings wise, they're going to get profitability. Probably not yet. So it's one of those that I would definitely add on the watch list. See what happens. Towards 2021, and then review it from there, because at the moment there's still a few problems with the company at the moment, in my opinion. So that's my opinion on Virgin Galactic today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you're new around here, subscribe. If you could like the video, that'd be absolutely amazing. Remember, in the comment section below, let me know which stock you'd like me to review next, and I will get onto that, guys. So I'll see you on the next video.